Hey, good evening, everybody. This is Bill Daubmann, not what you're used to seeing. Normally you see Keith Daubmann, so I'm filling in today. He's had a tough weekend, but again, really, really happy to be joined by Peter Simmons III, otherwise known as PS3. I'm not in the regular studio where Keith is at, where you see the PS3 MSD banner board behind us, kind of in my office tonight, but I'm fortunate to have Peter Simmons on the screen tonight, and we're going to share a little bit of football, see how the season's going. I've got some pre-done questions to ask Peter, and let's see how it goes. Petey, well, welcome.
Awesome. Thank you very much for having me. Glad to be here.
So how's the weather in Michigan? Because it's still hot here in Florida.
Definitely a little bit colder. It's been the weather past couple of days been kind of gross, been raining out quite a bit. We were kind of concerned for the game on Saturday. We weren't quite sure if it was going to rain or not. So, that kind of affects how our game plan was going to go. But, it was good, cool fall evening. So it was a great game.
So we watched the game. Again, another capacity crowd at the big house. One of the first questions I wanted to ask you is, as you're running onto the field, and I notice you're in the white sweatshirt, as most freshmen are, but I'm sure you got your adrenaline going. Do you think it's going to be any different as the years move on and you're in full uniform, or you're going to have that same adrenaline feeling?
Because as a freshman preferred walk-on, most and pretty much like 100% of the times, most of the freshman walk-ons don't dress for games. So that's the situation I'm in. So after my sophomore year and throughout, then I'll be suiting up, then possibly playing. Running out onto the field, I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. I mean, I can't really say right now because I haven't been suiting up, but running out of that tunnel, smacking the banner, running on the sideline, it's just no words can describe how it feels. It's just like you never get used to the feeling. Like doesn't matter who you're playing. It's just a great feeling. Like words can't really describe it. But I think for when I'm suiting up in pads, it's definitely going to give like a little extra boost to it. Like now, like I'm actually playing, so now it's gonna definitely boost it up a little bit. But it's still pretty crazy. Can't, as you can see, I'm kind of getting tripped up. Like words can't describe the feeling. It's just so surreal.
I bet. I mean, especially when this has been a lifelong dream to play for the University of Michigan, and thank God we're kind of out of that COVID thing. So you've got a capacity crowd there, and I got to say, I have not seen any visiting team in that big house. So not team, but their supporters. It just, everything is blue and maize. I loved maize out the other night. That was phenomenal.
Yeah, that was great. That was by far definitely the best experience. I've had four games so far in the big house, but that by far takes the cake. Whole crowd completely mazed, got the pom-poms going, music going, everybody's going crazy, guys on the sideline going crazy, great game, got the win, so that was awesome.
Up until this Saturday's game, Michigan was ranked number 1 in the nation in their rushing game. You're not taking snaps right now, but you're going to be a very integral part of that. And the front line really is what creates the holes and makes everything happen. So how much of that game do you have to study as it's going on to make sure the plays and the blocks are being thrown just right?
No, what I would say, this is a Big Ten game, real gritty game, smash mouth football.
Yeah.
It's as Big Ten, Big Ten games, they're not always the funnest to watch compared to like other conference games, but so it's just a lot of smash mouth football, a lot of both sides making defensive stops. I'll give it to Rutgers. I mean, they're a good team, so we're just doing, whatever we can to keep on smashing the ball between tackles, passing it down the field, doing whatever we can to get the win. And that's what we did.
Well, let's talk about your passing, because you've got a great quarterback, but he hasn't really been asked to throw the ball a lot because you've been so successful running the ball, which, as everyone knows, you also control the clock when you do that. But what have you seen from practice with your quarterback, and how well can he chuck that ball? Is he accurate? Has he got a strong arm?
I mean, he wouldn't be at Michigan if he couldn't. So, I mean, he was, really highly ranked recruit. Cade's a great guy. does what we ask him to do, and the scoreboard and the record reflects it. So, everything doing great for us. Practice is going great. Everything's going really good.
And, up until you got involved with my shower door, we really weren't big Michigan fans, but now I'm watching every single game. But I do remember a lot, Coach Harbaugh. He's a very excitable coach, to say the least. But I haven't seen it this year yet. I haven't seen any explosions. Is it because you guys are doing what you're supposed to do, or that you've been in control? What do you think his change of attitude is? Or is it a change in attitude?
I don't think it's just a change in attitude. I think it's just, he's coaching, he's just locked in on the game, whether his expressions show it or not, he's locked into the game, doing what we have to do to win. So whether, he's, going crazy or, just locked in, focused, and very keen on what's happening on the field at the time, he's just doing what we need to do to win.
Boy, he's doing a great job. And I know they said he's under a lot of pressure because last year's team did not do as well as expected. But right now, you're right in the thick of things, going into a real tough schedule. Almost all the rest of your games are going to be really tough. Most of the Big Ten games. Now, next week is going to be the first time on the road. You're traveling to Wisconsin. What kind of preparation do you need to do for that game? And what kind of game study have you done about the Badgers?
Obviously, heading in tomorrow, that's going to be like our first day, really breaking down the film, preparing for Wisconsin. They're a Big Ten gritty team just like us. They're a big defensive team, run between tackles. So, it's going to be a good matchup, and I think we're ready for it.
Now, I know you had injury in week one, probably your best return back on your special teams, an explosive running back, but the rest of the team has seemed to fill in pretty well. Have you lost that player for the season, or is he possibility going to be back?
Unfortunately, with Ronnie Bell, I'm not quite too sure from what I've seen, but we're having a lot of guys, at receiver step up and make those big time catches. And Ronnie's on the sideline, at practice, cheering us on, helping the guys that are in his position now, giving them pointers, giving them tips for getting those big catches and making the plays we need to make to win.
And you've done a good job at that too. So look at you. I know since I'd say, let's see, we hooked up with you in July. Then you had almost a month off as your team went away to try and do some bonding and training and workouts together. But now that you've been back, let's start off with your personal training. When you started with Keith in week one, what was the weight that you were at? And then fast forward to now, what are you at now? And what have you seen in changes in your own body?
So last time I was probably around 280 pounds. Right now I'm right around 295 pounds.
Wow.
So, 15 pounds. But the biggest difference I've seen in my body and throughout a lot of guys on the team, especially freshmen that have just gotten here throughout the summer, is our body fat percentages, especially because, it's got myself. I've seen it myself. My body fat percentage dropped down quite a bit. We did body scans in the beginning of the summer, letting us know like what our lean mass was, body mass, all like everything breaking down to like your arm, your left leg, like your torso, everything. So from what I've heard, we're gonna do body scans at the end of the season to kind of compare how like our body is doing from like when we first got here to the end of the season. But from what I've seen through our best strength coach, our strength staff that we have, one of the best in the country, have really helped shape me and a lot of the new incoming freshmen.
So are you pretty much on target of what they would expect as you get into your junior and senior year as far as body growth and size for the center position?
Absolutely. There's no defined, you have to be this exact weight and this exact, measurable. But, I'm definitely on track, but, obviously being a freshman and coming here in the summer, I still have a lot of room to improve and a lot of room to get better. So that's what I'm working on every day.
When we started this podcast, the reason we did is so people got to know the inside of a Division I football player. and to get to know you personally. I'm fortunate to get to know you personally and your parents and your sister, and what a great family. But a lot of our listeners and people that watch this podcast don't know you that well. So I'm just going to remind them that this is a true freshman, and rarely has, to the best of my knowledge, a freshman, especially an offensive line freshman, got any snaps in their freshman season. I think they're learning the system, learning what the team culture is about. But Peter, what have you done for yourself to be ready in case something, the opportunity presents itself for the coach to tap you on the shoulder and say, I want you to suit up today? How are you getting yourself ready for that situation in case it happens?
So obviously, like, the two biggest mountains I've had to climb, obviously coming to Michigan, the offensive play calling, everything, the plays and everything are obviously, a lot more complex compared to the high school level. In high school, be like block right, block left, block the guy right in front of you, pass block, So then here, everything is so precise, your foot placement, like which direction you step with your very first step, second step, your head placement compared on the other guy, hand placement, that all kinds of reads, especially at center, having to make all these calls, if there's a 4 down, a 3 down, which we call an Okie front, a 5 down, if there's 2 backers in the box, if there's only 1 backer in the box, if 1 backer slides out of the box, if the safety, what the safety's doing, so I have to memorize like defense, if they change, switch, the different personnel, I have to make a call for the whole offensive line, which can change like the whole blocking scheme of the whole offensive line. So it's a lot of studying that I have to do. So that's through the month of camp, the whole month of August. That's what I've been really working on. Taking a lot of mental snaps. Standing back and watching the starters and other guys that are playing do it. So I can go through it in my head, like what I would do. I look at the defense, how they're aligned, then make a call. Then the second biggest part is, physically, I'm going against, Division I athletes at the University of Michigan, and then eventually throughout the whole entire country. So, it's going to be definitely a lot different than playing, high school football at some small private schools. So, it's obviously a big step, and, it's definitely taking some time, obviously going against, 5th year, sometimes even 6th year, athletes. So it's definitely it's you just gotta get physically like prepared for it. And here, you can't just go out and hit the guy, be like, oh, you're a big offensive lineman, just go hit the guy up in front of you. It's very technical. Everything has to be very precise.
Sure.
Like one little so say like my hand is like outside of his shoulder and compared to inside of his on his chest, that can make a complete different block, because then that affects how the quarterback reads the play, how the running back, if he's running the ball, how he cuts, where the hole is going to be, so there's everything on obviously in Division I at a Power 5 school, one of the greatest football programs in the world. It's you have to be a lot more precise. You have to be laser focused on every single thing you do, everything you do mentally, everything you do physically. So it's a lot of I've been working on it, but it's just something that comes with time and something that I'm ready for.
Good. A lot of people don't know that I was in professional sports for 10 years. Mm-hmm. And there is a huge step from high school to college, and then from college to pro. And as people realize, from high school to college, not every high school kid gets to make it to college, never mind a Division I. So not only is the speed of the game different, but the physicality, the sheer strength of these athletes are different. And then there's only handfuls of these college students that make it to the pros. So as it whittles down, the game gets faster, stronger, quicker. And you not only have to be stronger and quicker that way, but mentally, on all the points that you just talked about, have to be ready to make a split-second decision. And people don't realize how much of an importance the center of all people in the offensive line really makes in an offensive play. So
Absolutely.
kudos to you for not only making the team, but staying with the team
Yeah.
to understand that.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, believe me, we've got half of Southwest Florida watching every Michigan game now. Any other Michigan players picked up an NIL agreement yet that you know about?
What a lot of from what a lot I've seen, what a lot of guys are doing, it's a lot of like social media ads. So they like just like pose with the product, like buy this or something like that.
Okay.
Quite a few of guys, just like retweeting somebody's post, say they give them X amount of money or whatever it may be, or like a discount code for some company. um but by far, from what I've seen, this the PS3 MSD partnership, from what I've seen, is the most hands-on. We From what I've seen, like my shower door family and Pierce, myself, we've been keeping consistent with it. Actually going out, doing the hard work. As we're doing right now, making a podcast. It's not just like you guys are tweeting something and I just click retweet. No, I love like my shower door. It's nothing like that. We're actually here putting in the hard work. Which I'm sure there are other guys around the country and certainly on my team doing. But from what I've seen, we're about like the only deal going on right now that's actually going out doing a podcast and getting it done.
Good stuff. God,
Yeah,
we're so pleased to have you. And you're such a good ambassador for our brand, but also sports in Southwest Florida. So kudos to you and your family for raising such a great student athlete. And I got to tell you, we're very, very impressed with your sister, Ellie, the videos that she creates, the TikTok videos that go viral, all the good things that she does. And she's very much part of this team as well. So we're happy to have
absolutely.
her. Hey, how often or what do you do about keeping in touch with like your high school coaches or previous coaches or even teammates that you've had growing up, you made friendship with? You still keep in touch with them now?
I definitely still keep in contact with a lot of high school and Pop Warner teammates I've had. I still keep in touch with a few coaches, not necessarily high school coaches, but other coaches from like Pop Warner level that that coached me when I was very young. They're there from the very start. But I've been definitely keeping in contact with a lot of guys that I've gone to play Division I sports. Got quite a few friends, playing FBS and FCS Division I football too. So it's been awesome.
Isn't that great? I
Yeah.
know I did a lot of coaching with youth, and I just love hearing from those athletes later in life to see what kind of an impact we've made, on their life. And did they stay with the sport, or what did they learn from youth sports that'll carry through to real life? One of the reasons that I moved to Southwest Florida is a good friend of mine that played in the NHL, and we've stayed in touch with him. And education was a big deal for him. He went to Yale. He made it to the NHL, played for the Los Angeles Kings, but he always told me, he said, get your education first, because you never know what might happen in sports. You could be a great athlete, but somebody just doesn't see it that way and they let you loose. At least you have your education to fall back on. You, my friend, are going to University of Michigan, one of the best educational facilities in the country. So how are you doing at school? Have you gotten any grades yet, or you feel like you're keeping up? Because football takes an awful lot of time.
Absolutely. Preaching to the choir. So as you can kind of tell by my expression, it's definitely a balance of time. So I'm studying kinesiology right now, which is sports management, and I plan on transferring into the Ross School of Business, which not trying to flex or anything, but University of Michigan is the #1 business school in the country from what I've seen.
Wow.
And so it's definitely so I have to I'm taking a lot harder classes than I could be if I just stayed in the same major I was. So I'm taking a lot harder classes. So the workload's definitely a lot more. You know, I have classes from like 8 to like 12:30, then got meetings from 1 to like 4, then practice at 4:30 to like 6 or so, 6:30. Then, you know, I got homework right after that. So I literally, you know, I'm even to like the exact minute, you know, I have to be somewhere on a certain time doing a certain thing, you know, making sure I get that task done with, you know, so I'm always on the run, you know, so it's great. You know, it's definitely, like I said before, you got definitely know how to manage your time. You know, time management's a huge thing. Being a Division I athlete, you know, especially being at a higher academic school such as Michigan, you know, so it's definitely a lot of workload. You know, especially just getting here as a freshman, I have to still kind of learn the ropes on how to, you know, balance my time with my all my grades and, you know, still being a Division I athlete. So it's definitely a balance and you know, getting it done. So
It's fantastic. Couldn't be more proud of you.
yeah, thank you.
Hey, any of your other teammates from either Bishop Verot or Pop Warner made it to any Big Ten schools that you know about?
Big Ten, no, but I do have other buddies pretty much across the country. I have one of my really good buddies, Malik Curtis, who I played at Bishop Verot with for 2 years. He's at University of Miami right now. He's a freshman. He plays pretty much every position you can think of. You know, he's playing defense, offense, special teams, you know, as a return man. One of my really good buddies. I have my quarterback from high school, Jacob Zizi. He's a quarterback at Army West Point.
Wow.
Absolutely. So yeah, love that guy. Here, I'm trying to think. I could go on, but those are two of my really close buddies there, you know, at the really high level. You know, I could go on and on talking about other guys that I know they're playing college ball, but I know I got guys across the country out in California, all the way up to Massachusetts, to Michigan, to Florida. You know, I got the country covered.
I was looking through your roster. By the way, we purchased a couple of the Peter Simmons shirts. We have them framed up in the office. But I was looking through the roster, there's a few of them from Suffield Academy. That was in my backyard. I lived in Agawam, Massachusetts. Suffield Academy is right over the Connecticut border. Matter of fact, my son Doug used to play soccer there. So I think there's 2 or 3 on the Michigan team that came from Suffield.
Yes, there's Kayshawn Bennett, who is a sophomore. He's a defensive end. He's in my grade, or he's a freshman. Sorry, he's in my grade. Yeah, he played there. Davis Warren, who's a quarterback, he went there for a little bit, but I'm not sure if it has him listed that he went there. But I know he went there for a little bit of time. And there's some other guys on the team that played there too. So yeah, it's so what Michigan does, you know, once we get one guy, you know, kind of want to get like a chain going, you know, kind of keep feeding them into Michigan, you know. So we got guys, we recruit heavy in like certain states, you know, like Massachusetts, Florida, you know, a lot of New England states, and you know, we got guys from all over the country, you know, California, Hawaii, everywhere. So we got the country covered.
I see that. So you got a few big games coming up against some highly ranked teams. I see Penn State is coming up. I see, and who is it? Wisconsin got hammered by Notre Dame. So they're really going to be looking for some revenge this week. And you're going into their field. So it'll be your first away game. How do you prepare for that? Is the crowd going to be loud? You're going to have to go to a snap count or timing count? What do you think you have to do to combat the crowd?
No, to be honest, I'm not quite sure. No, I've never been in a Big Ten away game, you know, so I've only had home games so far this season, but, you know, I'm sure we're just going to have the same mindset as always, you know, just do what we got to do to win, you know, whether it's run the ball, passing the ball, you know, defense making stops, you know, special teams, whatever it is, you know, we're going to find a way to win and get that done.
Super. Well, Peter, thank you for giving us the time. I know it's hard to fit it in between your practice and your schoolwork, and we want you to do well on schoolwork. That wraps up episode 5, I believe this is. Yeah. So we're very impressed. We'll get that out there. And until we talk again, continued good luck.
All right. Thank you very much. And a huge shout out to My Shower Door. You know, glad to be glad to be part of the family. You know, we're just gonna keep this thing going. So thank you very much for having me.
You noticed that we did the blue and maize in
I
our
know.
logo just for you.
I know, I love that. Looks good.
Yeah, it does. All right. Well, good night. Thanks again.
All right, awesome. Thank you very much.